Aloha! Welcome everyone to the Cownie household. I'm Lisa Cownie with KUIC News Now, my husband Brody, and we have a Hawaiian treat we're cooking in the kitchen. So come on in. And we're here to make you something that we discovered in Hawaii. We lived there for a few years, and this was a real treat in the Hawaiian culture. It's called Spam Musubi. Don't let the name Spam put you off. It's going to be super delicious, and yeah, I think your kids will enjoy eating it. So Brody will start with the first thing, which is the sushi rice. So Spam Musubi, we actually discovered, we first moved to Hawaii and our kids were on sports teams. And in Hawaii, at every sports event, they have these big potluck dinners at every single one. And so they brought out these Spam Musubis and the kids were eating them like they were candy, and
truly like they were candy.
Yeah, they're really good.
Unbelievable.
Okay, rice.
So there's like three big phases to this. One is the rice. It's sushi rice that you make. Typically a short grain rice, but we use long grain because we like jasmine rice in this house. Then you make a little marinade for the Spam, and then you fry it up, and then putting it all together is the final thing wrapped in seaweed. So to start with the sushi rice, the first thing you do is rinse it. And you want to rinse the rice until it's clear coming out of the bottom. So, and it usually takes a few minutes. If you got a fancy sprayer one, that usually helps. And you can see it's still cloudy. It'll take 2 or 3 minutes.
So I know you're all wondering why Spam, but in World War II, that's what the troops all ate on the island of Hawaii. Because it lasts forever, obviously. It doesn't need to be refrigerated. And it was a staple for U.S. troops that were stationed there. And then it just kind of stuck on the island. So
all right.
Now everyone there eats it.
All right, so once you get the rice rinsed, then we have a rice cooker. So you just put it in the rice cooker. Typically for 2 cans of Spam, we would go with 6 cups of rice. But we already did that in advance. So while Lisa gets that ready, I'll start with the seasoning for the sushi rice. Seasoned rice vinegar and sugar are really the key ingredients to this.
You can't go wrong with sugars in a recipe, right?
Sugar's a key ingredient to the whole dish, actually, which might be why the kids ate it like candy.
True.
So we're gonna go with a 1/2 cup of rice wine vinegar. Worked out pretty well. And then I got a 1/4 cup of sugar. A couple teaspoons of salt. And then you just heat this until the sugar and the salt dissolves.
I got the rice out of the rice cooker. That's my contribution.
Well played.
My culinary skills leave a little bit to be desired.
So the sugar and salt's dissolved. And then after we get this going, you'll just slowly pour that in there and then mix it while you're pouring it.
Too thick? How thick should I be cutting the Spam?
It's about good. Up to 1/2 inch. Alright, after you get that done, you can probably start mixing this up.
Okay. This just goes over the rice, huh?
Yeah, slowly pour it over.
You've said slowly twice. You know me too well.
Yes.
Just to get things over with.
Fast and on high.
I do like to cook on high.
Everything.
That's all right.
Okay, so for the marinade, we're gonna go with 1/2 cup of the oyster sauce, and then 1/2 cup of soy sauce.
So everywhere you go in Hawaii, if you go into a convenience store, you'll see rows and rows of Spam Musubis.
And the best Spam musubi in Hawaii, in my opinion, is at 7-Eleven.
Took over there on vacation.
Gas station,
Why not?
Spam musubi, good stuff. So it's a half cup of oyster, half cup of soy sauce, and then more sugar. Lots of sugar.
Sugar for days.
And again, you just stir it until most of the sugar is dissolved.
Okay, so to make this recipe, you do need a Spam musubi maker. You can get it on Amazon for about 10 bucks, and we'll show you how to use it in just a minute. But otherwise, you can find most things. You shove it in your kitchen, or you can find them, like the seaweed. Where do you find seaweed around here?
Cub,
Hy-Vee,
they all have it. Seaweed was another treat out there that we found that kids love to eat. It's the seasoned seaweed, a little different than this, but our kids would eat it by the casefuls out there. All right, so we'll throw a few of these in here and start getting them marinating a little bit.
Have you been to the Spam Museum in Austin?
I have not.
I wonder if they have this recipe there.
They must.
Maybe.
People in Hawaii knew we had lived in Minnesota before, and that was typically the first thing they would ask us is that, have you ever been to the Spam Museum? It's quite famous out there. To cook the Spam, you just typically try to get as much of the marinade off as you can, cook it on medium, just so it gets good brown on it.
And don't let the seaweed put you off, because you can always just take it off. That's what I do.
Probably the only healthy part of the whole meal.
That's why it's the first thing to come off. It's green. I don't like to eat green things.
All right, now we get these cooked up here. Get the next ones marinating. Just so we make sure they stay together. The seaweed kind of helps keep it all in one piece.
I still didn't cut them wide enough, did I?
It's borderline, but we can make it work. You want to have the rice have a little stickiness so it holds together. Spam is also a staple for almost every meal out there. Spam and eggs for breakfast, pretty much.
And rice.
Spam
They have rice every
and
meal.
rice, yep. But it gave me a whole new appreciation for Spam.
And now we're passing along to all of you.
Even some of the famous restaurants out there, Sam Choi is one of the Hawaiian fairly prominent chefs out there, has Spam musubi on his menu. Although again, I would say 7-Eleven's is better. But.
So yes, you put the Spam musubi over your seaweed strip. Fill it with rice. Push down the first layer. So rice, Spam, and then more rice on top. Nice little square. Seal the seaweed. Voila. A Spam musubi. One of many.
Yes.
I'll put it in the tray over here. Doesn't it smell good? I know they can't smell through the TV, but.
All right, now you get the real assembly line going and knock some of these out.
Thank you. So voila, a Hawaiian treat called spam musubi. You can make a bunch, and the kids will eat probably 2 or 3 of these though.
Yep.
In one sitting. So they're very delicious, and I think we should go try some.
I'm down with that.
Thanks for joining us today.